The gravel driveway wasn't on the map. Hunger gnawed at me as we approached the silent farmhouse, headlights slicing through the ink-black air. No cicadas, no owls, just the crunch of tires on dirt and a dead porch light. Inside smelled like burnt toast and lemons. Len's flashlight revealed family photos with faces scratched out, a dustless coffee table bearing a single circular mark. A floorboard groaned above us, sharp and deliberate. The child's bedroom held dinosaur sheets and an ajar closet. The master bedroom's stripped bed and neatly folded socks and gaping drawers felt colder than the November air outside. The kitchen tiles gleamed wet beneath the dripping tap. We stared at the open basement door, a yawn of darkness smelling of cold metal and something older than fear. Dolls with interlocked arms filled the root cellar, their glass eyes catching our shaky lights. Polaroids in the trunk showed blurred faces pressed against windows from the outside. Len's flashlight died first. Mine flickered as we climbed back up, darkness and light stuttering across the freshly made bed upstairs, its pillow still dented. The hallway shrunk as my beam stuttered, walls breathing inward with each pulse of faulty light. Something creaked behind us, wet and elastic. Not wood, not pipes. Len's shoulder brushed mine as we turned, too quick, our shadows lunging across the wallpaper like things unchained. The kitchen drawer we'd left gaping sat shut. A silver key glinted in the lock. "Don't!" I started, but Len was already turning it, slow, the click echoing up into the attic. His hands trembled. "Not from cold!" The sock drawer in the master bedroom rattled. Distant, precise. Folded cotton shifting, we stood suspended between floors, the air thickening like congealed wax. My flashlight caught the stairwell mirror, streaked, ancient. For a half-second, my reflection didn't blink. Len's lips moved, but the words dissolved into static, as if the house had swallowed his voice mid-breath. A draft slid up from the basement. The tap downstairs resumed, dripping, arrhythmic, each drop louder than the last. The bed, freshly made moments ago, lay unmade again, sheets tangled in a rigor mortis curl. The pillow's dent was deeper now, a fossil of a head. Len stood at the window, palms flat on glass, breath fogging the pane. Beyond, in the ink-blot yard, a silhouetted row of figures stood motionless, their faces tilted upward. Waiting. The cold bit my lungs as I joined him, our exhales blooming white, and lingered in the air long after we stopped breathing. The fog of our breath stayed suspended, ice fractals blooming, jagged and too intricate like veins in a petri dish. My own reflection in the glass warped as one of the figures shifted just slightly. A unison tilt of the chin. Len's fingernail scraped the window. Slow, deliberate, not his rhythm. When I glanced down, his hands were flat again. The attic groaned, not wood straining, a throat sound, wet, guttural. A single drop hit my scalp, warm. I didn't look up. The drip trailed down my temple anyway, coppery and thick. Piano keys, a nursery rhyme from the parlor 2 floors below. The tune soured halfway through, notes slurring into a hum I'd heard before, in the wormy pulse of my inner ear. His reflection wasn't smiling. "Real!" Len exhaled, chrysanthemums of frost. The dripping quickened. "Mirror." Len's hands rose, pressed against the glass from outside. "Jay!" Real. Len exhaled, chrysanthemums of frost. The figure stepped forward. No. Leaned, all spines bending at the same impossible angle, their shadows knitting into a lattice that crept up the lawn toward the house. His breath roses fogged the glass. Their breath roses fogged it back. The glass trembled. Not a vibration, a pulse like membrane stretched thin between us. Mirror. Len's fingers left smears, greasy and translucent. I didn't blink. Couldn't. My lungs clutched at the cold air, each breath sharper, as if the frost flowers were blooming inside me now. His reflection mouthed something, not words, shapes, syllables that hooked into the piano's stalled melody, tugging at lower, slower, a dirge. The drip on my neck thickened. I felt it slide beneath my collar, a hot seam against my spine. Shadows reached the porch steps, ribbed and jointed like insect legs woven from darkness. The floorboards beneath my soles began to prickle, a static creeping up my calves. Real Len's pupils fluttered, rapid, moth-wing beats. Mirror. Len stayed fixed. Black, wet. A creak above, the attic hatch trembling in its frame. Something dripped through the cracks now, a steady patter. Not blood, too viscous, honey thick and reeking of turned soil. My throat tightened. The nursery rhyme slid into a drone, a hive noise, and the lights dimmed as though the house were holding its breath. Their hands pressed harder. The window bowed inward, glass sagging like molten wax. Real, Len's breath hitched. When I turned, his lips were parted, not for air, but shape. The same silent syllables, echoing, converging. A sting in my palm. I looked down. My own nails had split the skin, crescent mouths weeping. The shadows reached the door. The door didn't open. It unfolded, hinges dissolving into black resin, wood grain splitting into fibrous threads, shadows pooled where the knob should have been, seething. Mirror. Len tilted his head. A crack split his cheek, silent. No blood. Just a fissure, deepening, revealing a glint of bone white, or was it porcelain? My own face prickled, phantom fractures spidering beneath the skin. Their hands met the glass. Both of them, real and not real, palms pressed flat. The window shuddered, then stilled. Too still. The pulse between us snapped. Real Len's eyes went liquid, pupils spilling into the whites like ink, his jaw unhinged. Out slit the sound. That sound! A wet, ululating warble that tasted of copper and loam. The floor softened. My boots sank, just slightly, into something spongy and fever-hot. Above, the attic hatch peeled open. No hands, just a slow, meaty yawn of wood. The mirror fogged over. Not with breath, with bloom! Mold blossomed across the glass, gray-green, feverish. Mirror. Len's smile lingered in the spores. Familiar. My smile. Shadows twitched in the doorway. Alive. Hungry, and not alone. The floor breathes beneath me. Each spongy exhale clings to my soles, viscous, alive. That copper taste thickens, blood or rust or the air itself decaying. Shapes stir in the doorway, not shadows anymore. Figures, smudged charcoal strokes of people I almost recognize. Their edges ripple, as if my blinking smears them across reality. Real Len, or what's left of him. Twitches. His mouth still gaping, that warble now a low drone. It harmonizes with the house, because the walls hum, don't they? My hands buzz. I stare down. The skin shimmers, parchment thin. Through it something moves, not veins, threads, hundreds, impossibly fine, weaving beneath the surface. The attic yawns wider. A drip lands on my neck, warm, syrupy. When I look up, the hatch-lipped peel back farther, gums of splintered wood. Something glistens in the darkness above. Teeth? No hooks. Mirror. Len presses closer to the fogged glass. His breath, my breath, fogs, patterns in the mold, letters. Come home, come home, come. The child shade reaches out. Its fingers graze my wrist. Cold blooms there. Familiar cold. The kind that lingers after touching a tombstone you visited too often. One of the revolving hooks dips lower, brushes my scalp, and pulls. No pain. Just a terrible lightness, as if my thoughts are silk, slowly winding onto a spool.